Structure of atom. Structure of atom. In structure of atom, already Dalton is given a theory. All the matters are made up of with atom. In the universal, whatever is matter present, this matter is ultimately made up with smaller tiny particle which are called atom. And he said atom is indivisible. But end of the 19th century, they proved Dalton atomic theory what he proposed is ultimately is wrong. Means not totally is wrong. Now what are the major postulates is proposed by the Dalton? One or two is right, rest all is wrong. Is proved after discovery of fundamental particles or subatomic particles of atom. So the subatomic particles of atom, that is electron and proton, neutrons, were discovered end of the 19th century. Okay. So now we will see in the structure of atom what are the subatomic particles, how they are discovered, and how they are located, what are the different kind of atomic models are present. Right. So first we take structure of atom. First topic we take that discover of electron. Discovery of electron. So electrons are discovered by J.J. Thomson. Electrons are discovered by J.J. Thomson. And by discharge tube experiment. Discharge tube experiment. So what is discharge tube actually? So discharge tube is a cylindrical tube. Discharge tube. It is cylindrical tube having metal rods at terminals. At terminal. So it will be like this. Cylindrical tube. Like this. One cylindrical tube having metal rods at the both the terminals. Right. And at bottom we will have one point to create a vacuum inside. So these metal rods which is connected to the negative pole of the battery will be called as a cathode, and which is connected to the positive pole of the battery will be called as a anode electrode. It is anode electrode, it is cathode electrode. This discharge tube is invented by William Crookes, a scientist. William Crookes, scientist, is invented this discharge tube to prove air is a good conductor. So generally now air is bad conductor under this ordinary condition. But when extraordinary conditions are made, air also can act as a good conductor. To prove that, he invented an instrument which is a discharge tube. By using the discharge tube, J.J. Thomson discovered electron. So in this experiment what he has done? In this experiment, J.J. Thomson passed 10,000 volts of current through the electrodes. Here positive and negative electrodes are there, no, cathode and anode. Through that electrodes, he passed 10,000 volts of current through the battery he passed. And a pressure maintained inside. Pressure maintained inside the tube. Inside the tube equal to 10 power minus 2 atmospheres. It is the dimension for the pressure, atmosphere. If not, it is 7.60 mm of Hg. Very low here, sir. What we have around us, that is 1 atmosphere pressure. 1 atmosphere pressure, but he is maintaining how much? 10 power minus 2, 0.01 atmosphere. Okay, very low pressure he is maintaining. So under this low pressure condition, when 10,000 volts he passed, he found certain rays are traveling through the cathode electrodes to anode electrode. And one more point, sir, how the low pressure is created? Here this part is vacuum. With this vacuum, they evacuate all the air present inside, so that low pressure will be created in the tube. So under this low pressure, that is 10 power minus 2 atmosphere, and high volts of electricity, that is 10,000 volts of electricity when passed through the electrode, in discharge tube, some of the invisible rays are travelled from cathode electrodes to anode electrode. Cathode electrodes to anode electrode, some invisible rays are travelled. So you will have that doubt, sir, you are saying it is as an invisible ray. If it is an invisible ray, how the J.J. Thomson is observed they are travelling? So to identify that, he placed a zinc sulfate screen behind the anode electrode. Here we have zinc sulfide screen, ZnS screen. So when these invisible rays are hit the screen, they started glowing. They started glowing. So based on this glow, he understood some invisible rays are travelled from cathode to anode electrode, and when they hit the zinc sulfide screen, they started glowing. From the glow point, he understood some invisible rays are travelling from cathode electrodes to anode electrode. He named that rays as cathode rays. I repeat once again. When 10,000 volts of current passed through the electrodes at low pressure, that is 10 power minus 2 atmosphere pressure, when 10,000 volts of current is passed through the electrode, some invisible rays are travelled from cathode electrodes to anode electrode. Which are these invisible rays are travelling from cathode electrodes to anode electrode? That rays he called as a cathode rays. He called as cathode rays. This cathode rays properties he started to identify. So to know the properties of this cathode ray, he has done different activities actually. The first activity, through the discharge tube, when he stopped the experiment and he placed one opaque body between the two electrodes. It is negative and it is a positive pole, cathode and anode. Here he placed one opaque body. He placed one opaque body and again started experiment same. Passing 10,000 volts of current at 10 power minus 2 atmosphere pressure. So in this case, the invisible rays which are produced from the cathode are started travelling towards anode, and they formed a shadow of this opaque body on the screen. Here on the screen, shadow of the opaque body is found. So when the shard of the opaque body is found on the screen behind the anode electrode, from this point he concluded that cathode rays travel in straight line. Travels in straight line. Okay. This is one property proposed by placing an opaque body between two electrodes. If they are not traveling a straight line, the opaque body will not form a shadow there. Simple, see, you can see shadow of my hand here. Reason the light rays are traveling in straight line so that they are making shadow of the hand of this opaque body on the screen. If they have the ability to deviate, shadow will not have formed. So same thing here, when opaque body placed, the cathode rays are formed a shadow of the opaque body on the screen. So from that point he said they travels only in straight line, they won't take deviation. Always in straight line travel. Number one problem. Number two, the second activity what he has done. In the discharge tube, rather than placing opaque body, he placed one rotating wheel. One rotating wheel is placed. Like one rotating wheel he passed. Negative pole and it is positive. And by placing a rotating wheel, again he conducted experiment. Passed 10,000 volts of electricity under low pressure, that is 10 power minus 2 atmosphere pressure. Again invisible rays, that is cathode rays, are produced and they are traveling towards anode. When they are traveling towards anode, this wheel also started rotation. Wheel also started rotating. So from this point what he observed, that what he concluded, when the rays are traveling towards anode, that rays are hitting the wheel. After hitting the wheel, they are creating some force on that rotating wheel. When a cathode rays, when the experiment 10,000 volts of electricity passed under low pressure, when cathode rays are traveling towards anode, the wheel started rotating. So based on that, he concluded that cathode rays have energy. Second property. And third property, for this discharge tube, he placed applied external magnetic field. It is present. External magnetic field applied. One side south pole, another side north pole. External magnetic field. And again started the experiment same. And again started the experiment. Whatever these cathode rays are produced, these all cathode rays are deviated one of the pole of magnetic field, like this. Before they are traveling in straight line. When opaque body passed, they stopped and they formed the shadow. When the wheel placed, they started rotating the wheel. But when external magnetic field applied, these cathode rays, rather than traveling in straight line, they are taken deviation towards one of the pole. So if something is affected by the magnetic field, it means it will have a charge. If you take neutral particle, when you apply magnetic field, it cannot be deviated towards any one of that. It cannot attract. But when it has a charge, ultimately it will be attracted either towards the north pole or towards the south pole. So from this experiment, when the magnetic field is applied and the wheels, the cathode rays are deviated towards one of the magnetic field, from this point he stated that cathode rays have charge. Since they have charge, that's what they are able to deviate. If there is no any charge, it cannot deviate. This is a third property of the cathode ray which is given by the scientist. Next, fourth one. Rather than placing magnetic field, he placed electrical field only. Placed electrical field, negative pole, and another side positive pole. And he applied electrical field, one side negative, another side positive. And again passed same experiment he done. In this case, all the cathode rays are deviated towards the positive pole of the electrical field. Towards positive pole attracted. So these rays are attracting towards the positive pole, means the rays must have which charge? Negative. Because positive and negative only will attract. Negative cannot attract, positive cannot attract. They repel each other. So now, here all the cathode rays are deviated towards positive pole of the electrical field, means they have the negative charge. So from this experiment he concluded that cathode rays have negative charge. Negative charge. These are the major 4 properties are proposed by the J.J. Thomson. And apart from that, some more important properties are there, that cathode rays have penetration power. Cathode rays can penetrate through metal sheet. Penetrate through the metal sheet. They will have the penetration power. Next one. Cathode rays can produce X-ray. Cathode rays can produce X-rays when they hit surface of tungsten metal. Like tungsten metal, not only tungsten, like tungsten metals. So these are the characters of the cathode ray. But after, it is behind our scope, but just one word I will give you. Based on the delocalization and localization character, he concluded that cathode ray is not a ray, it is a continuation flow of a smallest particle. So that's what it looks like as a ray. It's a continuation flow of the smaller particles which are called electron. So he said that, concluded, cathode rays are not ray. It is continuous flow of smaller particles. The smaller particle he called as a electron. This electron he denoted with E, and what charge they have? Negative charge, so E minus. And with Mulliken oil drop experiment, the charge of electron is predicted. Minus 1.60 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. Coulombs is the dimension for the charge. And relative charge they have taken as a minus 1 in it. Mass of the electron, these all are the specific charges and specific masses. Mass of electron by mass spectroscopy is found at 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kg. Relatively we call it is massless particle. And same way, charge by mass ratio. That's the only will be called E by M ratio. E refers to charge, M refers to mass. Has come, this is charge, it is mass. So charge by mass ratio is relatively 1.7 into 10 power 11 coulomb kg inverse. These are the things has come. And in this experiment, in this dischargative experiment, J.J. Thomson is tried with taking different kind of gases in the tube. We have to maintain low pressure, no? To maintain low pressure, he tried with different gases and different metal rods are taken. At the terminals which are the metal rods are there, different metal rods and different gases he filled in the discharge tube. And he tried same experiment. So in all the cases, what are the cathode rays are producing, their charge, their mass and their charge by mass ratio is remain same. Same charge coming, minus 1.60 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb, and mass is coming 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kg, and charge by mass ratio is coming 1.7 into 10 power 11 coulombs kg inverse. It is fixed coming. So from this point, he concluded that, it's a very important statement, the nature of the cathode ray is independent from the nature of the gas and the nature of the electrode.